This video was recorded by a CCTV camera of an older apartment building. It is mounted to the ceiling of the 13th floor, and many tenants have stated that they have heard quite a lot of eerie noises at night on there. Items have been moved around, and one tenant in particular swears that he saw a little kid running across the dimly lit hallway around midnight, only to disappear into the closed door to the staircase. Strange to say the least. In this particular clip, we can apparently become witness to some of these mysterious events. Take a good look. After a few minutes of inexplicable activity, we can see a pair of legs appear, seemingly walking slowly towards the camera. This apparently freaked the superintendent out quite a bit, and who can blame him? And only a few minutes later, this happened. It was clear that the building was dealing with something really creepy here. What exactly it was? Impossible to say, of course. Seems like the tenants of this building will have to keep those doors locked overnight, for sure though. Of course, we know that there's a lot of accidents occurring on our roads on the daily. These accidents, which very likely turn those places into areas of negative energy, claim the lives of dozens of people week after week. The following footage was taken on a toll road and recorded on a dash camera. Apparently, the driver caught something quite terrifying on his nightly drive. On the right side of the screen, we can see a translucent figure standing right on the shoulder of that road. The uploader of the recording mentioned that they did notice that person, but that their appearance looked pretty off. A grey skin tone and unnatural stance. And they joked that it might have been a ghost at the time. Upon reviewing the footage, they noticed that even the rear camera had picked that figure up. And it was just standing there. Many people agree that it does not look like an ordinary person. Rather, it appears to be of paranormal nature. But what do you think? Do you believe it's just a regular person? Or perhaps the spirit of someone who lost their life on this road? Or what other explanation could there be? This clip was apparently captured in Poland by a woman who recorded this unusual dark object hovering in the sky right above her. She parked her car immediately, pulled out her phone and started recording. At first, she wasn't sure if this was perhaps just a strange bird.
What is that? It's just floating in the sky. This is some crazy stuff. What is going on? Weird? Oh my gosh.
The woman states that this thing kept floating in the sky for a while until it mysteriously vanished. It reminds me a bit of the weird Dark Knight satellite images and videos that surfaced a few years back. And I'm really not sure if this was just an animal or something otherworldly. What do you think? And then there was another strange incident that was documented by a man in Oregon this past November. The same sighting had been reported by different people around the world, and they all speak of the same mysterious illuminated objects that are moving independently and leaving glowing trails in the sky, excluding drones as possible cause for this particular phenomenon. At first we can see two floating lights, when out of nowhere a third one appears. The man recording is pretty certain that this also was the doing of an extraterrestrial life form. But if that's not the case, what else could it be? I'm lost of words here.
Whoa.
Antonio was apparently staying at his cousin's place over a long weekend. Located in the basement, he made himself home and spent the long Sunday night with playing some Resident Evil on his Xbox. But as you have noticed, Antonio gets distracted by a strange noise, which appears to be stemming from one of the other rooms. While he keeps finding misplaced items scrambled all around the house, we can also make out some heavy orbs that can be seen in several frames of his recording. Interesting side note, this night he was the only person home. What at this point seems to be paranormal activity only worsens over time. What could have turned the sink on?
C'est pas drôle, arrête.
Pretty freaked out, Antonio investigates each room in the house. It doesn't take long until he makes out a dark figure. Video starts off in an old school in Argentina. In the early morning hours, a neighbor had called the police because he saw that the door to the school had been left open and was concerned, which caused several officers to arrive at the scene. After they had arrived, they quickly realized that nobody had forced their entry into the building. The locks were still intact. Nevertheless, they make their way through the abandoned corridors. Bodycam captured them entering and exploring several parts of the school, and nobody seemed to be around at first. but after a moment, the camera seems to capture an unexplained shape. Did you see it again? At first it appeared to be a child, but then it almost looked like a woman in a white dress. What do you think? Was it an apparition? This video was shared by Ashlyn21, who was out on a little trip one night. She took a couple of photos and noticed that on one of them there seemed something quite off. Let's take a look at that.
Okay, so this is from mine and my dad's trip to Savannah, and I took this picture of something up in the rafters of this building that we were looking at. See that? You can see it clear as day. And it looks like it's like crouching down behind it. But then, in the next photo, there's nothing there. But there's an orb. So, I have reason to believe that I caught that on my little janky camera from years ago. That I caught some creepy in this little warehouse in Savannah, Georgia, because like then it's not there now, but the orb is, but it's there in that.
So what are we seeing here on her little camera? Is this something paranormal? An apparition that was hiding? It's pretty interesting that we also see an orb appear right after that thing is out of frame. So I'm actually not sure if this could be an animal. What else could it be? Let me hear your theories. This video was captured by a young man who was working a night shift in a local hotel in Mexico. He went outside the back door of the building to go for a quick smoke break. The door leads straight into the back alley that most of the time is pretty empty, especially in the really early morning hours. However, this night he noticed a huge lanky object to his left and started filming this encounter. He believes that we are seeing something from another dimension that wasn't supposed to be visible to the human eye. It was the first time he captured such a creepy event, and he isn't necessarily a believer in the paranormal side of things. But this night had him honestly question his beliefs. The following incident was a terrifying encounter that a young woman had shared on her profile, Los Polioneros TV. The mother states that her young baby son seems to be talking more and more about his imaginary little friend that likes to visit him in his room, and the boy is talking a lot to him apparently. The mother started recording these encounters to share with the family. Such was the case today. She started filming once her little son told her about his friend and that he was with them this day.
Ay, estamos solos. Ay, Dios mío.
Seemingly uneasy, the young mother is turning around and she captures a shadow image of what looks to be a little kid standing in the dark kitchen staring at her. And it did scare her so bad that it took her a few days until she decided to share this encounter on her profile. She believes that this imaginary friend to be not that imaginary after all now. Let's hope that this doesn't get out of hand. The next clip was uploaded to YouTube by paranormal investigator Darklife from Russia, who visits old, abandoned or haunted locations on his channel. In his latest episode, he's visiting an area he calls the Village of the Dead and is investigating an old derelict cabin. The cabin appears to have been abandoned for some time now, as all the furniture seems to be gone and only traces that anyone ever lived there remain. To start the investigation, Dark takes a walk around the outside and the inside of the perimeter of the location, and then moves inside to set up his paranormal equipment on both floors of the house. It isn't long until mysterious events start happening around the house. It seems the upstairs of this cabin is a hotspot for paranormal activity.
Who are you?
Sometime later, Dark captures this terrifying moment from the upstairs hallway. The shadowy entity appears and moves suddenly towards the bedroom door. Could this possibly be the spirit of someone who once lived in this house? Nearing the end of the night, Dark heads upstairs a final time and gets a little bit more than he bargained for.
I think it's just the wind.
Dark claims to have been completely alone, and we can clearly see that he wasn't moving when this was recorded. What do you guys think of this capture? What a creepy investigation. If you can, please visit Dark's channel. This was shared by Wade Lanigan, who's basically just hanging out with his son in the living room here. He has captured several strange incidents in the past and is recording video surveillance on the regular. Today, he also suspects that he caught one of the several spirits that is said to haunt this home. The figure of a shadow man with a large top hat can be seen as he's walking across the living room and reflecting in the mirror, which is quite a surprise to everybody. If it is residing in his home or if it's a haunting that is bound to his family is unknown. Many people believe that there's way more behind this than Wade is sharing with us, but who can say? The following video was supposedly captured by a tourist on vacation who was exploring a local temple that day. Whilst just a few steps away from the location, he captured something quite strange right next to a statue. Some people say that this was possibly a spirit that manifested, and that stands in relation with the temple nearby. Could this be so? If that's not the case, maybe we just became witness to a strange camera occurrence. Perhaps even an artifact, who can say? Ogden Paranormal is a team that is regularly investigating supposedly haunted locations. Tonight they went to a place called the Clubhouse. They go on by saying that it was once the home of the Ladies Literary Club of Salt Lake City. They go on by stating that they were the first group to ever investigate the building, and it was one of their most memorable investigations. They didn't think they'd capture two shadow figures on camera in one night. Well, let's take a look. When the team is setting everything up, there appears to be the first shadow popping by behind the door. After this incident, they state that there were only 3 people in the building at that time, and that all of them were situated in the same room, so it was impossible for anybody to be walking around in the room next door. The owners of the building were also not present and had merely given them access to the building. Strange, isn't it? They set up shop for a little while in the basement and decide to place a big ball in one of the rooms, which should act as a trigger object for the paranormal world. They kept the room and the ball in frame and also left a stationary camcorder that was supposed to capture any anomaly. And in fact, there seems to be something floating by. Now, is it paranormal related or just dust? They leave the area for a bit, return after a while, and then this gets captured. I don't know if that is dust. Could be some form of energy in my book. After a while, they are slowly getting ready to wrap things up, and then, believe it or not, the thing behind the door is seen once more. Now, you tell me, was something peeking through the door slit and then moving away as soon as the camera focused on that area. Let me know. The next video was recorded in Santiago, Chile in the year 2012. It was recorded by a father who was filming a group of children singing for the local church choir. He wanted to record the memories on his cell phone. He stated that he was absolutely sure that nobody else was with him in his seat row at that time. His camera, however, recorded something really interesting. Transparent person is walking in front of the camera. Very odd indeed. The man showed the footage to the priest after, who believed this to be an angel perhaps, who was visiting that day. Could this be? Guess we will never know for sure. Now to another really odd recording, which was captured by a bicycle rider one night, as he was just about to leave a parking garage in the midst of night. After completing his shift, the garage is located in South America. There's no way for ordinary people to enter the garage, since it is restricted to employees only. And the young driver tells us that he heard some creepy noises stemming from the same parking level he was located on. As the young man seems to be fiddling around with his light, it would appear that the shape of a lady can be seen in the distance, casually strolling through the parking garage, which should be impossible. The driver walked around the garage level for a bit, but couldn't find anybody, so he believes that this could actually be a spirit, or something else. The following video comes from Japan and features a few paranormal investigators walking through a thick forest with an old abandoned cabin. The investigators are seen peeking through the windows and around the side of the house. Nothing strange really. But after getting home and checking the footage, they thought to have noticed something. They slowed the footage down and noticed something truly terrifying. Something appears to be peeking out of this old hut. Is it a woman? A homeless person, perhaps. The uploader states that he, however, thinks that we are seeing a spirit here. Do you think that could be so? Unsettling. The following video was captured by a CCTV camera that was overseeing a stretch of beach. The original source is unknown, however, the video resurfaced on a paranormal TikTok channel. The story goes that the two young men in the video were on the way to a friend that particular night, when all of a sudden they noticed a loud noise and saw something hovering over them. A second later, one of the two men mysteriously vanished. As we see, one of the two men is indeed simply disappearing into thin air, and the other one is making a run for it. It is also unknown if the man disappearing could be found after this incident, or what exactly had happened to him. It surely doesn't look like a glitch or a light reflection. The man is definitely gone. Yet, we have to ask ourselves, was this a mysterious incident, or did somebody tamper with the footage? Some do believe this was the doing of a UFO. Could this be so? The following recordings were documented by user Domadius. The young man just moved into a new apartment and states that recently pretty unusual events started unfolding. Doors moving by themselves and noises out of nowhere. This night he started to film these encounters. In particular, the bathroom seems to be a really curious room.
Is anybody in here? What in the... Hello? I swear you bet... Hello? You better not be pranking me right now. Oh! Guys, you literally will not believe this. I literally just had that door thing happening. And now I have that happening. There is nobody in there. And now I have my lights going on and off when I'm trying to sleep. This is absolutely ridiculous. This has been happening for the past 5 minutes. And like, how is anybody supposed to sleep? What the?
Did something peek out of the bathroom here?
Hello?
A few moments later, the poltergeist activity only intensifies.
Hey guys, just waking up, getting ready for work, and here we go once again. We got this door moving. We got my bathroom door moving. Hey, please stop, spirits. Please. I'm actually, like, honestly scared to go check right now, because what if something's like... Oh my... Oh. Please stop. Please.
But one of the most terrifying encounters was just about to unfold, when Domadius woke up the same night, and yet again heard some strange noises from the bathroom. The following unfolded. There was something standing in front of the closet. People believe that it was a negative shadow entity that likes to play tricks on him in there. How creepy.